Hello. Good afternoon. Welcome to Dojo Bali. Today we have events about e-commerce, everything you need to know when starting your online store. And it will be one hour, right? Yeah. And it will be 1 hour. And then if you have any question, please raise your hand first. And then I will give you the microphone. Okay, Dennis.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come listen to me, to what I have to say. We're going to be talking about e-commerce, about making your first sale. So a lot of the content is going to be focused on making that first sale, but also if you already have some experience, I'm sure you'll find a lot of nuggets in here. You'll find a lot of nuggets in here to help grow your store. So first, I want everybody to stand up. It's kind of one of those activation little things. It's not lame, I promise. Okay, and then everybody sit down that is already running an e-commerce store and is making a living from it. Okay. Now everybody sit down that has started an e-commerce business, which is making some money, but they can't live of it entirely. Okay. And now everybody that is planning on launching something or has launched an e-commerce store, please sit down. Okay. And then everybody else, I assume you're interested in e-commerce or just want to learn a bit more. Yeah. If you have like something else, you can shout it out. But normally that should cover everything. Okay, you're standing up? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So let's get started with something which I call the $1,000 jacket. So this is a jacket which costs almost $1,000, which is expensive. Let's say you had to sell this jacket online. How would you sell it? Just throw out some ideas. For example, who would you sell it to? Who do you think would buy a jacket like this? Rich people. Norwegians. Okay. Cold weather people. Yes. What do you think would be different from selling a jacket like this compared to a jacket that costs $100? Price we had there, rich people would buy this one and wouldn't buy the $100 one. Is there anything different in how you would do it? No, it's not the same. It's really, the quality. Yeah, people caring more about the quality. Okay, I'm not gonna reveal the complete answer yet. I'll cover that later. First, a little something about me. Who am I? My name is Dennis. I see that I left this off the slide. Okay. So these are the three things that I focus on right now. I'm a consultant. I have been for 7 years for e-commerce businesses. I do mainly Google AdWords and help them with help e-commerce businesses that range between 20K and 250K in revenue a month. So those are like bigger businesses. I also run a site called Store Growers, which is basically an e-commerce marketing blog where I use everything that I learn as a consultant, I actually write about. I also have some training courses. And then the thing on the right, Apes in Space, it's my e-commerce store. It's my playground a little bit to experiment in. I started it 7 months ago. I made... this figure isn't accurate. I made a sale this afternoon, so it's a little bit higher. But I made around like $1,500 in sales. And I'm 100% transparent about it. Like in the presentation, you'll see a lot of numbers that I share about this. So if there's something that you want to know, like how to do it or how much it costs or how much you'll make, just ask me. I'll share everything. Why am I giving this talk? Well, e-commerce is pretty overwhelming if you're new. There's a lot of things to learn and a lot of things to figure out. Also, there's too much bullshit around making money online, like this guy who bought a Lamborghini because of drop shipping. So drop shipping basically means that you don't carry inventory, and it's often used as like a magic bullet or a magic key to overnight millions. So the thing that they do is usually then they pitch their product or pitch their course, and if you buy the course, you will also make millions. It doesn't work like that. I also sell courses, not around drop shipping, but people don't make millions overnight. So here's what they do make. So this was a research done by Privy, which is an email marketing pop-up tool. And they did, in January, they did a research with about 500 businesses, e-commerce businesses that had been around for a year. And they asked them, okay, what did you make? You're operating for a month, for a whole year. So how much money did you make? You can see that it's about 70% that made less than $5,000 in revenue. And then that's about 10% who made between 5,000 and 10,000. Another 10% who made between 10,000 and 100,000. No. Yeah, that comma is in the wrong place, but 100,000. And then the percentage goes down. So seeing like how many people really make six figures to buy like a Lamborghini, that's very, very few people. And I'm not saying this to discourage you, because everybody's like going at it and they have a good idea and they wanna try doing their best and make this work. But it's more to temper your expectations, because if your expectations are too high, that actually can hurt you. Because if you're relying on this, let's say we're all in Bali here. We're thinking, oh, if only I could start this store that would pay the bills while I'm here working dojo or sitting on the beach or doing trips around, that would be great. So we start a store with that idea that it will pay the bills. But as you can see from here, it pays the bills for only very few people. I think if you make between like 10 and 100 grand, probably you'll have enough profit that you can actually live off. But for all the others, well, you need something else to pay the bills. So with that said, I hope I didn't depress anybody. Let's get to the actual talk. So I've structured the talk around 4 main challenges that you'll face on the road to making your first sale. The first one is how to stand out. Second, where you're going to sell. The third, about getting traffic. And then the fourth, finally, we're going to make that sale. So the first one, how to stand out. It might seem that it's already like a more advanced topic, but really it's the foundation. If you get this right, everything else that I will cover will be easier. If you get it wrong, you'll lose a lot of money and probably your idea will end up dead. So what's your foundation? Your foundation is made up out of 3 things. It's your product, it's your audience, and it's the story, brand, or thing that makes you unique. And all of these 3 together, they make up your unique value proposition. And this is really what makes your store unique. So if you have a potential customer and they could buy from a number of stores, like why would they choose you? Why are you the person or team to run this specific store? So while it's easy to put this on a slide, it's really difficult to have like a good answer for all of these 3, especially that story or brand, and then coming up with a unique value proposition. So here we see the $1,000 jacket again. So the product, it's an extremely high quality product. You can survive in temperatures up to -49 Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's really cold. It's like Antarctica cold. So the people that buy it is people looking to stay warm, but also like fashion addicts, because it's this brand. It's called Canada Goose, and it's been worn by a lot of celebrities. So a lot of people wanting to surf off the fashion trends, they also buy this, and they run around in places where you don't really need it. So that's a specific crowd. The story, the brand has a lot of heritage. The first scientists that went to Antarctica, they were wearing this brand and this jacket. So it's really powerful. Just telling this that a brand has been around for so long and has like such a history, that's pretty good. So in what follows, I'll just take you through some more examples of other stores and how they did it. So this is my own store. I told you about Apes in Space. I sell epic space posters. That's my product. Who do I sell it to? I sell it to people that are into space, that like the think space is cool. Maybe they like launches, or they like they like the idea of space. So what's my story or brand? Well, basically, I really enjoy like how what space does for like our humility. It's only by looking at space that we realize like how small we are and how insignificant we are. So because like if it's not Niepi, you don't really see the stars, and you don't really remember that actually space is out there. So then I wanted to bring like space and space history back to Earth in the form of a poster. So this, just it took me a long time and many sentences to explain this to you. So it's not an amazing story or a unique value proposition. So even though I came up with it and I made a presentation, you see that I still didn't do it quite well. So that means that it's super hard to do this well, and it's super hard to actually come up with a concept that is unique and that is really valuable. So this is a shop called Bark Shop. They sell like treats and little foods and toys for dogs. And their tagline is, "We'll treat your own dog. We'll treat your dog like we treat our own." And you see, it's pretty fun. So their brand is pretty fun. Imagine having the same products like dog treats on like a boring website. That would be totally different. Like their emails are pretty funny if you get them. I'm not a dog person, but I kind of would read their emails. This is a company called Peel. They make super thin phone cases. So for iPhone, Android, any smartphone. So that's it. The cases are super high quality, and they're really thin. That's it. That's a really simple one. It's not that the company isn't that old, and it's doing really well because it has an amazing product. It knows who's selling it to, and it has like a good proposition and a good story. This is a company called FROSTBEARD Studios, and they sell handmade candles for bookworms. You might not think that that's a thing, but it is. So they've taken like two seemingly unrelated concepts and just matched them together. They've been around for a while, and they're also it's not a huge company, but they also do quite well. So this is the most fun part, because you're still really motivated. You've thought of the idea, you have your product, you're creating the first things, and you're really excited. And it's easy to come up with things that aren't real. So it's too easy to fool yourself that a niche exists, like there's a group of people that would really buy your product, or that your product is better than what's out there, or that it's cheaper or faster or something, or that you are the person or team to actually be selling this. And I just want to leave this, just because you can start a specific business doesn't always mean you should. Yeah, I will show you an example. So who knows what this is? Okay, so this is the Juicero, and the Juicero is a machine that actually squeezes these bags and gives you a juice, and it tastes like a normal fresh juice, but it's a $400 machine that you need to do it. And it turns out that it's a really like crazy specs on this machine. It's the best designers, I think, also designers that worked at Apple and stuff, like crazy things. So it turns out that you can actually squeeze these bags with your hands into a glass, and it gives you the same results. So this company raised $120 million to develop this machine. And they took it off, like they launched, and then they got a lot of blowback because, yeah, people were squeezing these bags with their hands. They got a lot of blowback and they pulled out. So it's not like if you're starting out that you're going to make these mistakes. If you manage to pull in like $120 million and fool investors, other people coming to work in a company, it means that it's a really hard problem and that it's too easy to believe your own thinking and your own bullshit. So what's the solution? The solution is to do better research. And because the worst possible feedback is that you will do something, you will create a product, and you will go to your friends or your family, and you will say, oh, what do you think about this? And they will say, oh man, it's so cool that you're doing it. I really like it. Or this is the best. I can totally see people buying this. But these are people that giving you feedback because they don't want to hurt your feelings. They know that, or they can see that you're really passionate about this. So they don't want to say like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. So you need to do better research. How do you do better research? Well, first of all, you can do like passive research. Passive research means you're just reading, you're just looking around, you're browsing, seeing what other people are saying. So you can do that in Facebook groups. No matter what niche or thing you're into, there's a Facebook group for it. You can read Amazon product reviews. You can browse Reddit. Reddit is also anything you can think of. There's something on Reddit. You can read blogs, anything. But you can also do like active research. And active research usually comes after, and it means like asking people questions in these same channels. You can do Facebook groups, you can do Reddit posts, you can do comments on another blog post or something. And you actually ask people like, you ask them like, okay, what's up? Like, what do you do right now for this problem? Or how do you solve it? Which products do you buy? So I want to leave like online, it's good. There's a ton of stuff online. But there's also a ton of stuff you can find offline because it's not made for your specific needs. So taking it offline is gold. So for example, if you have a product and you're targeting yogis, just join a couple of local yoga studios, and then like join a class, and then after ask some people, hey, I've got this idea. Would you mind giving me some feedback? Or if you're trying to target vegan parents, for example, you go to a vegan restaurant where people are vegan, and you ask them like, okay, what do you think about this? I have this idea. Would you see your family using it? Why would you? Why wouldn't you? Something like that. Some other ways to do better research is to get, like I said, get feedback from people you don't know. So what products do they buy now? So what products would you compete with? Why are they buying these products? Why are they buying this brand? Where are they buying it? Are they buying it in a store? Are they buying it online? Are they buying it on Amazon? What's missing from this product? Like what aren't these people doing well? And this one, what's missing, if you go to Amazon, is the perfect place to discover what's missing, because a lot of people that are happy, they won't leave a review, but if people are unhappy, they will leave a review, and they will tell you exactly what's wrong with a specific product. And then lastly, once you've done like all of this, you ask them like, would they buy your thing, your product? And then you can ask the same things like, why wouldn't you? What's missing? Or is it too expensive? What price point could you see yourself buying it at? Okay, so that was challenge number one, like how to stand out. So thinking about your product, your audience, and your story, and doing that really well and backing it up by research. So now we get to the second point. We have all those things, and we're going to figure out like where we're going to sell. So there's a lot of options. There's Amazon, there's Etsy, there's like Kickstarter, as we saw with Sam last week, or you can create your own website. The difference between Amazon, Etsy, Kickstarter, and platforms like that, or marketplaces, is that these have built-in traffic. So there's a lot of people like starting their search. If they want to buy something, they don't type it into Google. They just go to Amazon and start there. So there's a lot of people there, and you can easily tap into it. Also, people trust these websites. Most people have their credit cards and their addresses saved on there. So it's really easy for people to actually buy from these places. But these advantages, they come at a cost. For Amazon, you give up a fee. You pay like a monthly fee, and you give up a percentage of sales, which wouldn't be too bad because you're making money. But the thing is that there's also a lot of other competitors selling very similar products to yours. So there's a lot of pressure on your price. So you can't charge what you want. That means that you also take a lot less profit for each sale that you make. Another thing is that it's Amazon's customer or it's Etsy's customer. It's not your customer. You can't send them emails and tell them to buy your next product or just notify them of new products or something. So this is really like owning the customer. It's not important to make that first sale, but it's important. It really builds e-commerce businesses. If you see like businesses that are doing really well, they make the same amount of money from new customers versus existing customers. So owning this, especially in the long term, is really important. So how do you pick one? Well, there's no one right answer. You can start on Amazon, move off to your own e-commerce store. You can start at Kickstarter, move into your own e-commerce store. You can start with your own store. There's a lot of different options. It depends on your experience, on your goals, on your product. And really, we could fill like a whole session debating the pros and the cons. And even in fact, like last week, we had a session specifically on this, just talking about what's best or what's your experiences. So my experience is in building your own e-commerce stores. For one thing, like it gives you more control. It's harder to get them off the ground, but once you do, it's really like your thing. So in what follows, I will expand on like building your own e-commerce store. That doesn't mean, like I said, it's not the only answer. And a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about can also apply to these other channels, but it's the thing that I know most and I can share most information with you. So if you're going to start your own store, which e-commerce platform do you use? Simple, Shopify. There's a lot of platforms out there. I always recommend Shopify. Why? Because it's cheap. It's easy to set up. It's even if you're not at all technical, you can get a site up that looks good. And yeah, they handle all of the difficult stuff from setting up payment systems and stuff. One thing I want to say is don't waste too much time. Doesn't matter if like Shopify or another platform, if you choose. Many people there spend too much time, especially at the start, tweaking everything, making everything look really, really pretty. While in fact, if it's like basic and it's good and it works, it's good enough, especially at the start. So just pick a team. You can select a team of how it looks and move forward. Okay, so that was a rather compressed part of where to sell. So we have our products. We know who we're going to sell to. We've got our store up and running. So now we're going to get traffic. And there's a lot of options. I'm sure that if you've thought about getting your store or starting with a store, you've seen all of the options. There's Facebook ads, Instagram, normal Facebook, Twitter, SEO, YouTube, blogging, AdWords, affiliate marketing, and a lot of others that I didn't include. So it's complex and very overwhelming because you don't know where to start. And the thing is, it's different for every store. I told you I've been working with e-commerce businesses for about 5 years, and there are some things that work for every store, but a lot of the core functionalities or the core marketing strategies, it's different for every store, because if it was the same for every store, everybody would be doing the same. So it's difficult. This is a difficult problem. Okay, but I did create like a starter roadmap. And this roadmap is for the people that are starting out. It will take you to that first sale. It won't take you to like 100 sales or 200 sales. I'll show you what to do after, but it's your first sale. So you start with your inner circle. These are your friends and family. You move on to your connections, which is everybody that you know. And then you go to your referrals, which are the friends and family of everyone that you know. So this first one, your inner circle. So these are the people that care most about you, and they would do anything to help you or to help you succeed. You're going to reach out to them via email. Maybe you pick up the phone or you send them a Facebook message. You send them on LinkedIn. Although I wouldn't send messages to my friends on LinkedIn, but maybe. You can send them a WhatsApp or anything. And you're going to create a personal message of why do you think your store or your products are interesting for them, and also what it means to you. And especially the second part, as I said, these people really care about you. So if they know how important it is, of how much you want to start your own business, they will do a lot. So for example, here is a guy that's basically selling a monthly beef jerky subscription service. He doesn't have a website. He's just sending out emails to test like the demand. So here he sends a message to a friend telling him what the concept is, if he's in or not. You might think that it's like a badly written email. There's no capitals or punctuation. But he made like, I think, $2,500 monthly from these emails. So he sent out a lot of emails, but it works. Especially, like, look at this one. P.S. Know any offices who buy snacks I should chat up with? So this is the referral part. I will get to that later. So if you've had your friends and family, if you reached out to them, you move on to the second part, your connections. And you actually know a lot more people than you realize. Think about everybody that you ever send an email to, or all your Facebook friends, LinkedIn, WhatsApp contacts, all the other things, like everybody on Twitter or any other platforms that you're on, Instagram. These are all people that you can potentially reach out to. I'm not saying you should, because most of them probably don't have any business with you. Like if you're targeting like a female demographic, there's no point sending to men. Although maybe you can, maybe you should. No, there's a lot of people you can reach out to, but just don't spam. Your messages here will be more generic, but still try to make it personal. Imagine, would you want to receive a message like this, or how would you respond? If you know that it's a copy paste, you can feel good and ignore it. But if it's like, oh, hey, how's the job at X going? Long time since we've talked. Then you kind of feel like, okay, I should respond to this person because they send me an actual message. And this last one is also something that few people think about. It's you're living their dream. Everybody has in the back of their mind an idea that one day they want to start something of their own. They want to be their own boss. And here right now, you're the person reaching out to them and telling them, yeah, I had this dream and now I'm trying to do something about it and you can help me. And that's also really, really powerful. So after sending messages to your friends, family, your connections, you're going to get referrals. And the way you're going to get referrals is to ask. If you don't ask, nobody will think of it to refer you people. So the key thing with referrals is to be specific. You ask them one thing and make it super easy to do. Maybe you include screenshots, maybe you include templates, stuff like that. So if you want them to send it to one other friend, tell them, okay, send to one other friend that might be interested in X. Or, hey, I posted something on my own Facebook profile. Go to that post, here's the link, comment on it and tag 2 of your friends. That's it. Really simple instructions. If it's like a 10-page email with 20 things that they can do, nobody will do it. So here's I started my store back in September. So here's what my launch and my reaching out to people looked like. So you can see it's pretty flat, and each peak means I was reaching out to some people. So you can see a peak, dying down, peak, dying down. And this is actually how I made my first sale. So I started, I think it was like 8th of September. And then on the 21st, I made my first sale. So that's from somebody I didn't know. It was a person in Mexico that I couldn't find like how they reached me, but I made the sale. So this is good for a first part. You can see here the red box. That's my launch. That's the initial phase. That's the start. That's that first sale. But it doesn't last. You only have so many friends, family, or people that you can message, and you don't want to be annoying and spam them because there's no point. So you're gonna have to figure out like what to do after. And you can see that for a while I didn't really have any good ideas. There's not a lot of people coming until like you see some peaks. It's going up, And then at the back of December, I had a lot of people coming to my site. So then after you started, you move on to like discovery mode. And discovery mode is the time where you're testing different marketing channels to see which ones bring you traffic at a good cost. Maybe it's money that you put in, or maybe it's your time, and also traffic that converts. To show you that it's hard, here's me. Here's my store, like the breakdown of my revenue and expenses of my store. And you can see I spend about $600 on AdWords, $500 on Facebook, $50 on Instagram, some more on Twitter ads. Spend about $1,000 more, over 1,000. And actually, I only made like 1,300 in sales, so I overspent a bit. But the reason for that is I'm trying to figure out what works. So I'm not trying to. I'm spending that much because I kind of know what I'm doing, and I'm kind of know what I'm testing. But this is just to show you that even though like I've been doing this for a long time, it still takes me time and money to figure out like what works. So if you're running into problems like trying to figure out what works, this graph, it's hard, and you need to try a lot of different things. Okay. So one thing you could do is spray and pray. So you're online and you read an article about somebody saying, yeah, do Instagram DMs. It's the best thing. And then you start doing it. So yeah, you figure out, yeah, this guy is looking quite successful. I'm also going to do it. Doesn't work. A couple of weeks later, you see something else. You think like, yeah, SEO is the new thing. You should do it. Again, you go SEO, do SEO. Doesn't work. And the cycle continues. And after a while, you've tried like 3, 4, 5 different things, and you're getting really discouraged. So what can you do instead? Well, you go back to your audience. You figure out like, where do they hang out online? Which sites do they read? Which Facebook groups, again, are they part of? Normally, if you've done your research, you already kind of know this. What are they interested in? And then how can you get in front of them? So this is your marketing tactics. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna hack their brain and figure out what they do and things like that. No, it's kind of like, what are they interested in, and how can you do that, or how can you tap into that? And an important part is use your strengths and resources. So if you hate writing and you're a terrible writer, don't start a blog. If you hate the way you look on camera, or you hate your voice or something, don't start like a YouTube show. But if you're really creative and you love creating little videos and doing things, or drawing or animation, I don't know, like do that, because not a lot of people can do what you do. So you'll be more unique than somebody else. And also your resources. If you have a lot of time, well, do things that take a lot of time, because other people will be time strapped and they will just try to spend money. And some things you can't throw money at and work. Or if you don't have any money, don't do ads. Ads are expensive. Trying to figure out like what works for example, Google AdWords for Facebook, you can easily spend like $1,000, $2,000 just trying to figure out if it's something for you or not. So be comfortable with losing that money. If you don't have it, don't do it. Figure out other things. So I'm going to take you to some examples of how easy that can be. This is, again, my store. What I do, this is a blog. It's called Today in Space History. So each day, more or less each day, I try to write about a topic of what happened on that day in history from space. So this is a pretty recent launch, but maybe there's an article of somebody sending a satellite to Jupiter or something. I will write about it, because I figure that people that would buy my posters, they would also be interested in content like that. So they would be, okay, today it's the anniversary of, for example, the Voyager or something. So they would be looking at that. They would they would start looking for that or see it passing on social media or something, click over, like what they read, they see, oh, this guy also sells posters from this specific event and it's a cool picture. So maybe they buy it. It's still developing, but this is my main approach. This is a company called Luxy Hair. They sell hair extensions. And at first, all they did was create YouTube tutorials of how to do your hair, different styles, and they kept doing this, only this. They didn't do ads, they didn't do anything else, just creating these tutorials, putting links back to the shop. And they went up to like over $1 million in revenue a year just from these tutorials, just by sticking to it, because they saw that it was working, that people were responding to the videos, were clicking over to the website. This is a company called Doki Desu. It's a really random company. It's a really small company. They sell anime stuff and cosplay stuff. And they got their first 50 customers by going out to a trade show, a local anime cosplay expo trade show, and just printing flyers and handing that out. People came to the website, liked what they had, and they bought. They made 50 sales from it, which is huge for like a small business. This is a company, Beard Mountain. They create products for better beards. This guy, actually, he gave up his secret. He wrote on his blog, he wrote a post on how to create your own beard oil. So actually, this is the beard oil that he sells, and he put his recipe on his own blog. So that drove a ton of people to the blog, and you would think like, oh man, like everybody's just making their own beard oil now. Like nobody's buying it from him. But no, people were also buying it. Not everybody, but not everybody's your customer. So he was making sales from this. There's a company called Drones, a store called Drones, etc. They sell drones. That's it. And they got their first sales from links that they got from the manufacturer. So you will have a manufacturer, for example, a Mavic or something, who has a website with all the models. People will go there. They will be huge. They have huge marketing budgets. So people will go there, and then they will see like where to buy. And this store was listed as one of the potential online retailers. So people clicked over and they bought. So it can be as simple as that. This is a store called Orglamix. They have like cruelty-free makeup. They send out samples to blogs, influencers, pretty simple, to get coverage, and then they made sales from it. Oh, wait, too fast. So giving away product, it's a thing that a lot of people assume is like the best strategy. You can do it if you have like huge margins, but if you have more expensive products, it usually doesn't work. An alternative to this is you can give out like testing products, invite people to be a tester for your product, something like that. Okay, so getting traffic is hard. Getting traffic requires patience, and progress doesn't always mean sales. For example, back in December, for my store that sells space posters, I posted a video from a launch that SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, did. And it got a lot of traction, a lot of people commenting on it, sharing it. And it didn't make me any sales, but it was interesting. I hadn't really thought about the angle, even looking back, like it's pretty obvious. So I started looking more into like what SpaceX was doing. And it turned out that the beginning of February, they had like a huge new rocket launching. So I thought like, okay, maybe I should be there when it launches. Maybe I should have like posters ready as soon as I can. And this turned out to be huge. This was my biggest month. The month that I showed you the expenses breakdown, I made like $1,400 off of posters from this one launch. So it can be huge. And this progress, it doesn't always mean that it's sales. It's you're learning about your customers, and you're figuring out what they like, what they don't like, which content they respond to. Yeah. Then number 4, making sales. So we have our products. We know where to sell. We're getting traffic, but this is not enough. it's not because you just bring traffic to your website that it will automatically convert. The average conversion rate, so that's the number of people coming to the website and buying, is between 0.5 and 2%. So that's if you bring 100 people to the website, like half up to 2 people will actually buy, which is crazy because it takes a lot of work to bring 100 people to your website. So why is that? Well, the first reason is intent. Not all people that come to your website have the intention of buying something. So imagine that you're on Facebook and you're just scrolling through your feed and you see an ad there. And this ad pitches a product or something. Or it's just an ad and it kind of triggers you when you click on it. You have no idea where you're going to end up. It can be a shitty site. It can be a very beautiful site. It can be a perfect product. But you didn't have like the intention in mind that you were going to buy the product. So it's even if you're the perfect customer, probably at that moment you're not going to buy it. Compare that to someone that's actively like searching in Google, like, oh, I'm trying to buy, for example, this drone number brand X, product number Y or something. They see an ad or a result. They click on it. Well, they kind of know what they're going to get. So the conversion rate will be a lot higher for that kind of traffic. Next is the rule of 7. And the rule of 7 is something from like marketing research. And basically it says that people don't buy like the first time they see you. They need a couple of interactions. And it actually comes from the world of advertising, where they said you need like 7 impressions or you need to reach people 7 times before they buy something. And it doesn't matter if it's 7 or 5 or 3. It's important that it's not 1. So don't expect it to be 1. I see a lot of people online complaining, saying like, oh, I put like $200 into Facebook ads and I haven't made a single sale. Well, that's because these people see your website for the first time. Think about like the times that you've bought something. There's only very few occasions where you're like browsing around, you see something, it's like, bang, oh, I need to have this. It almost never happens. And it also doesn't happen because a lot of people, like they don't know you, so they also don't trust you. It takes some time to build that trust. People need some time. For example, when they come to your website, they can see, okay, it's a clean looking website. It doesn't look scammy. They check out the about page. They see that you have like your contact information, maybe a picture of yourself, maybe a bit of story about why you started it or something. Like they start connecting to you. And all of these things, they are small things, but they're slowly adding up to the point that they trust you. But maybe that's not enough at that point. For example, somebody can come onto my website for the space posters. They can really trust me. They can like me. They can have total faith in me. But if they're not looking for a poster, or they don't need a poster at that time, which is basically everybody, they're not going to buy it. But it's like the first step to a sale. So your responsibility then as a store, as a marketer, is to keep following up with them. So what works well for me is people sign up for an email, and then like once a month I send them, oh, hey, here's our new posters. Here's some cool pictures for you to look at. And slowly the familiarity builds, and then one day they will be ready to actually buy. Yeah, and also social proof. If you don't have any reviews or something on your website, it's kind of like a big barrier for people. Not a lot of people will buy. People will buy because, for example, on my website, I have 1 review and people still buy. So it doesn't hold people back, but some people, are a bit more hesitant. Okay, so no. Okay, so how to actually make sales. So I mentioned a lot of things why you're not making sales. So how can you figure out how to make sales? Well, you use some tools. For example, I'm always using Google Analytics. If you don't know it or not familiar with it, install it on your website, click around a little bit, like learn how it works. Here is an example of that traffic isn't always enough. So here it's 3,000 people from Facebook ads that came to my website on basically like 3 days. and they didn't buy anything. I didn't make any money, and I spent maybe I spent like $500 getting them to the website, but they didn't buy for all the reasons that I explained. But a lot of them did leave their contact details, did leave their email address. So that's an opportunity for me in the future to actually get some sales. It's easier to give out an email address, or it's easier to get an email address than it is to get a sale. So yeah, use that. Another tool that I really like, especially at the beginning, it's really addictive, is called Hotjar. Basically, it does heat maps, it does recordings, and it does polls. I will now like show you a little example of a recording. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so what you're gonna see is a visitor. This is a recording from an actual visitor that came to my store. He was from Germany. He visited my website. Okay, you can't see the date, doesn't matter. But they had like a Chrome browser. They were a Windows 7, so it's a lot of data already. And now we're gonna see what they did on the website. If it's loading. Okay. Okay. So what you would see, let me just talk you through it. Here's like a timeline, all the yellow. Okay. Okay, it's gonna load. It's like twice the speed, so it might look a bit weird. So they were on my blog, pop-up comes up, they close it, they browse around, there's another pop-up here. It kind of crashed. Okay, I'm just gonna talk you through it. So you can see them clicking around. Yeah, they add stuff to the cart, and here you can see this visitor was actually really struggling like with the thumbnails. Like they go on a poster and they click on it and they click again and they try to look at it a bit more. But yeah, so this really, it didn't give me a lot of information, but it gave me like information about that they are using that side menu, which I killed, by the way, so I shouldn't have. But it gives you information how people use the website. And sometimes that can really, sometimes people don't have any idea why people not converting. And sometimes it's because the website is like horribly structured, or like the homepage, people go to the homepage and there's like just side-wide like pictures and you can't really tell, and this will give you a lot of information. Plus it's also cool to see people use something that you created and you thought of.
Dennis.
Yeah, it's a free tool. I've got like a link which will point to all of the tools. Have some paid plans, but you can do like the recordings and the heat maps, and these polls are all free. Especially these polls are also really great. You can put them on a website and then ask them people like if they're like going, you can ask them, oh, why are you going? Or is there anything unclear or missing or something? You can do that to figure out like maybe you're not very clear about shipping information or about extra costs that people will have. So it's a really great tool. Another one is the email capture. So this is also a pop-up that appears after a bit. I use Privy, which is an app. And it's very straightforward. New customer offer, get 10% of your first poster purchase. About 0.5% of the people actually opt into this, which isn't a lot. But actually, of the people that opt in, there's about like 60 or 70% that actually make a purchase. So it's a really good tool to get people to start thinking about making purchases. So if the pop-up wasn't there, people probably would just be browsing. And now the pop-up is there and they say like, oh, I get a discount. They leave their email, and then even if they're not going to use the discount or they don't need a discount, they start thinking about buying. So I find it really effective. I was really surprised that it worked actually as good as it does. Then there's also sales notifications, and that's really like the social proof. So it's this little pop-up on the bottom. If you can't read it, it says somebody in Belgium purchased a NASA Earth retro poster, which is great because it actually gives the impression that people are buying, and people are buying. This is somebody that bought for real. But you can also fake this. You can put in notifications and make it seem that people have bought. So to get over that first hurdle, I see people like nodding their head no, but it's something that, like, if you haven't made a sale, you don't want to look like you never made a sale, because people aren't going to buy. You want to look like an attractive website where a lot of people buy. So you can also install a chat. This has become really popular the last few years. Tools that I like are Olark or Talk. There's not a lot of response. You need a lot of traffic to get actually response. But the response that you can get is really valuable. So this Talk, I don't remember if Olark has the same functionality. You can actually see where people are, how many pages they viewed, etc. And then if they viewed a lot of pages and they're going back and forth and they can't seem to figure out, you can ask them, oh, is there something we can help you with? Or is there anything unclear about our selection of refrigerators or something? Something that's really, really specific. It's a bit creepy, but it works. Okay, so as a summary, we saw first our foundation. The foundation is your audience, your product, and your brand. Then we looked at your platform. We looked at marketplaces versus your own website. We looked at how to get traffic, which basically means you start with outreach, everyone you know, and then you focus on your audience to figure out some things, some specific things, some cool things that are unique about your audience. And then we looked at getting sales, which means getting your basics in place, making sure the site looks clean, works well, like the flow is good, that you have all the necessary information about shipping, maybe an FAQ, your contact information, and a About Us page, super important. And you learn from your visitors. You learn why they are not buying, and then you make the change on your website. So maybe they say, your warranty policy is really unclear, or I don't know about the returns. Well, then you create a page on your website or in your FAQ that talks about returns. So this is my website. So from September to March, this is what it looked like. So we have like a visitor graph. February, as I said, was huge, and we have revenue. Here's how that looks with some emotions to it. I really love talking about this because it's something that's not talked about enough. Most people just share the numbers. Time for some water. Most people just share the numbers, and they just share the revenue numbers, which look impressive. But as you saw, like I lost money in February, so it's a lot less impressive if you look at it that way. But so the emotions, so I will talk you through it. September, it's all happy. I didn't make any sales, but I was motivated. I started. October, yeah, the first month I didn't expect. So no, I did make a sale. And then it went down in October. So I thought like, yeah, it's the start. It's okay. I was still happy. In November, I saw the traffic go up and I was really happy. I was watching Google Analytics. They have this real-time feature where you can see like how many people are on your website, where they're from at this moment. Super addictive, especially at the start. In December, the traffic again went up, but yeah, I wasn't really happy with it because I thought I would make a lot more sales. In January, traffic actually went down. I didn't make any sales, and I started getting a bit annoyed. Like I was putting a lot of time and money into it, and it wasn't working well. And in February, I told you I had this idea about this launch, and I made a lot of sales. So I was already thinking like, oh, if I would have months like this every month, or sales days, so it's like only like a couple of days that I made all the sales. So I started thinking, oh, if I would have 30 days like this in a month, so many possibilities. But it doesn't work like that. You can see in March, it's probably going to be like the second best month ever, but still it feels like, oh, I want to go back to that February level. So you can see it's like up and down. And the biggest takeaway from this is that it's hard. It's hard to figure all of these things out, and it will test your patience and your motivation. So if you start with something that's only for the money, or you can see like an opportunity, or somebody tells you like, oh, you should really get into, I don't know, electric go-karts, and you never done anything with go-karts, but you're just doing this because you see some money or something. Yeah, it's gonna be hard in those tough months to keep the motivation going. Well, if it's something that you're actually, it's possible to do the other thing, just care about the money, execute really well, but it's harder. Well, if you care about something, even if it's like the posters, I really enjoy space. I would be like a really good customer for my store. So I really don't mind like researching and writing about it and learning more, because every post that I write, it's something that I didn't know. So I enjoy this. So try to pick something that maybe you're not super passionate about, but maybe it interests you. It will be a lot easier to get through like the hard parts. Okay, so that was it. I got a bonus. If you go to storegrowers.com/dojo, you can find a link to the slides. You can find a list of 80 tactics to get traffic. If you're still stuck and you can't figure out what to do, you'll find a huge list there. It has like filters on if it's easy or free or anything. I've also included a couple of articles and links to all of the tools mentioned here. If you want to let me know something after, you can find me on Twitter or by email. Feel free to shoot me any questions you have. That was it. Thanks.
Hi, Dennis. Quick question for you. So where do you get your prints from? Who makes them? Okay.
So it's called a service called Printing on Demand. So I have all these images, and as soon as somebody orders, it's a company called Printful, and they will print that specific poster. So I don't have any inventory or something. It's just like a one-off. So they have, for example, they have 2 offices. They have one in, I think it's in Texas, and one in Estonia in Europe. So if somebody from Europe orders something, they will send the order to Estonia, print the order, package it, send it to the customer. So while I'm here, like I made a sale while I was coming here, that actually somebody's like printing it and packaging it without me having to touch it. So it's a good service. You pay for it, but it's a good service. And you can do the same with, for example, like T-shirts or hats or something. Yeah, so okay, I will address that. So all of the pictures that I use, I've been put in the public domain. So these are images from NASA or from SpaceX, and they're free to use, like privately or commercially as well. So that's what I use. I would love to sell a lot more posters, but I'd have to make deals with individual photographers, and I'm slowly getting into that. So.
Concerning the shops, can you have many shops like Etsy, your own shop, Amazon on the same time?
Yeah, definitely. So I said that there's no one right option. So probably one of the most ideal stores is one where you have like a lot of different channels. So you have like orders coming into Amazon. There's some people here I know that are making sales on Amazon, that are making sales on Etsy, that are making sales on their own store. But it's just that complicates things, because you're going to have to learn each of these things. Like learning how to be successful on Amazon, it's like, it's tough, and you have to learn that. How to be successful on Etsy, you have to learn that. How to be your e-commerce store. So I wouldn't advise to do it all at the same time, but just like pick one of those options and really dive into it. I think it's depending on your product, you can probably be successful no matter what platform, but it's just that, yeah, things will be a lot harder in some categories.
But then you have more people that know you in case you are doing it. No?
Yeah, but like I said, it's super easy to spread yourself too thin. It's already really a challenge to learn one of those channels like Amazon, Etsy, your own store, Kickstarter. That it's not. You'd rather do one thing really well, and for example, like dominate Amazon, Amazon and really be there every time somebody searches for anything, you're there, than it is to have like a profile on each of these sites, but really like not come up if people search for your product. So I would just pick one of them and then focus on that.
I have a question back to the print on demand. How long does it take? Like, what's the delivery time? If I click on your poster I want to have, how long does it take till I get it?
Yeah, so it usually gets printed in the like between 12 and 24 hours that it's fulfilled. And then it takes, it depends up to where the person ordered from. So for example, if somebody in Germany orders it, so it gets printed in Estonia, it's there in 2, 3, 4 days. And you can also have like more expensive shipping options, but I'm at the default right now, and it's still like good enough. You could have like people pay for extra fast shipping or something, but it's something that I haven't really looked into it because it's only if you really need it. For example, I had somebody order it for like a birthday from his grandson, and he really wanted to be there in time, but there was like enough time ahead. But if I'd had like an overnight option or something, and I would charge like double for it, maybe some people would buy it. So.
Any else question?
I'm currently learning or trying to learn SEO. You didn't really mention anything about that there, and you seem to be spending a lot of money. Are you looking at SEO? Is that one of your areas?
Yeah, definitely. So the articles that I'm creating, that's my main SEO angle. So I see the ads that I'm doing, it's like short term, because SEO, it's like writing, getting content onto your website that actually is going to rank well in Google. And that really takes time. It takes like 6 months up to a year. So I've spent, I think I've spent like 80 hours or something on this store. And most of that time has gone into like researching and writing articles. So that's actually, but it takes a while. So I think I have like 50 articles or something on the website, but it's slowly growing. Like every month I have a little bit more traffic. But yeah, so I'm looking at the ads to like go a bit faster in the meantime. And I'll also like play around a little bit. So I see it as like an experiment, and then I can write like a cool write-up on my blog about it. So definitely, if you don't have like a budget, SEO is a great strategy if it makes sense for your niche. Like some products people don't search for. So I have few people looking for actually for space posters, but I have a lot of people searching for like these events. So I'm trying to tap into it that way.
No more question? Please give a big applause for Dennis.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.